never talk to me about Moltres again. Hello again everyone, Veridasune here with another Legendary Gauntlet deep dive. I'd like to avoid repeating myself too much from the last Gauntlet video, just in the interest of time, but please feel free to check out my last video for more information on the way I conduct this sort of analysis, and extra information like sync move passive skills and understanding legendary arenas more generally. When trainers have multiple possible sync pair options, I'll try and be clear about which I'm referring to. Morty, for example, is available as a Spotlight Scout paired with Driftblim, or by using a Battle Point sync pair voucher paired with Miss Magius, and he has two outfits, Signasuit Morty, where Signasuits are often referred to as SS, and Full Morty. Taking this to extremes, the main player character has access to their initial partner Pikachu, storyline pairs like Torchic and Solgaleo, and Super BP voucher pairs like Cobalion and Regirock. And Eggmons, of course! All the eggs. Like last time, whenever Eggmons come up, I'll try and specify the class of Eggmon I'm meaning, Strike, Tech, or Support, but will otherwise just use the Pokemon's name. For the second Legendary Gauntlet this time, we're looking at the Legendary Arenas of Uxie, Latias, and Moltres. In my opinion, this was definitely a more difficult and time-consuming gauntlet for me, as I only managed a 16 clear. However, I did record all of my clears this time, which was a very different experience for me, and one I don't think I'll be repeating without much more time at my disposal. It's also interesting to have some predictions from my last video to look back on too, so we'll be talking a little bit about those as we look over the gauntlet that was. I've decided again to look at clears of 24 or more, even though finding these was more difficult this time. I had to seek out a greater variety of data sources, not just from Reddit, but also from YouTube, Twitter, and even some Twitch users. The Pokemon Masters Twitter account again gives us a breakdown of clears, including the max clear of 87?! Wow, what an incredible effort! More of the player base went beyond 10 clears this time too, up to 33% of all users. Again, all the previous caveats from my last video apply, though this time I was able to reliably get all Eggmon sync pair types. Some of the other data was a bit more difficult to clarify, especially on Twitter and Twitch, where some individuals didn't include their additional cleanup teams. In total this time I gathered, perhaps ironically, 24 runs, each from unique individuals. The longest was a 52 clear, again from Lopsided Shine 663, though in correspondence Lopsided said they managed to go even past 59 clears. All sync pairs and Eggmons have again been standardized as their highest possible evolution, same as last time. I'm pretty sure the spreadsheet was mostly error-free this time thanks to the simpler write-ins. Up front, it should be said that there were way more ties this time, so I've tried to capture to the best of my ability what things looked like at the top of each of the arenas. I'm again leaving a link to a static version of the full data document if you'd like to see more information and breakdowns too. And with all that being said, let's dive into these three legendary arenas with Moltres, Uxie, and Latias. Moltres is a rock and water weak legendary arena that centers around weather. Weather is permanent for both allies and opponents, and Moltres receives an impressive collection of buffs while the weather is sunny, as mentioned in the last video. It has some resistance to flinching but never becomes immune, and can apply burn when the sun is up in the second and third health bars. This arena was definitely the most challenging, as weather setters are few and far between, and Moltres was very powerful while in the sun. Players were able to stretch out their streaks by focusing on that flinch chance, and stun-locking Moltres until they were able to take it down. If you could make it through Moltres, you might have a good chance of going all the way. Topping the list for Moltres is Acerola with 24 clears. As a 5-star story pair with weather and flinch, it's no surprise that Acerola finds a niche against Moltres, especially supporting rock types that smash Moltres for huge damage in bars 1 and 3. Following right behind though is May at 23 clears. With her rain refreshers and great damage in Muddy Water, it's no surprise these two tech weather setters are topping the list here. Coming in at third most used, it's Candace at 22. She's the highest striker on this list and is again a weather setter with a slightly less reliable MP refresh thanks to her shiny new sync grid. We round out the list with the highest support, and look who's back again, it's Hilbert! A strong support pair against Entei in the last gauntlet, Hilbert's here again with 18 uses, providing all manner of buffs and flinches for his team. Blastoise was the most used Eggmon, and was actually used more than Hilbert at 21 uses, all of them tech. Do you think Moltres knows the rain go away rhyme? The most used team was Acerola, Kukui, and Olivia, with 5 uses. Very popular team with Acerola and Kukui performing double flinch duty as Olivia just cleans up in Acerola's sand. In terms of predictions I made in the last video, we definitely saw a wide range of weather setters in the top tiers, and Eggmon flinches were also very important for this arena. It was great to see the community really get behind some straight sun clears like the very popular Leaf Brendan Gardenia trio, used 4 times. Brendan's grid has some choice sun nodes in it, like Solar Shield to prevent Moltres from burning him, Healing Sun 1, Charging Sun 5 to power up moves in Sun, and even staggering on Bullet Seed. Who knew? Gardenia likewise has some great moves in the Sync Grid kit, including Sunny Disposition to prevent stat drops, including from Leaf Storm, BOGO or Buy One Get One 9 that can apply the free move next effect and keep that gauge running, Charging Sun 3, and Solar Flare 3, which powers up sync moves. Leaf would sync to provide team-wide buffs quickly. I was able to complete a similar clear using Erica and Vileplume instead of Gardenia. The build I used included Healing Sun 2, as this Erica is the only character to have that passive skill. As some other people have mentioned, fire types did have an edge against Moltres through focusing on powerful fire sync attacks in the sun. Paired with a strong support, characters like SS Red and Hilda could do some massive damage, especially as the sync buffs start stacking up. The Ghost Week Legendary Arena Uxie is very similar to Cobalion from the last Legendary Arena, with damage reduction on each health bar. For this stage, however, Uxie alternates between Healthy Advantage, which decreases the damage taken when Uxie is status free, and Acute Senses, which decreases the damage taken when Uxie is interference free. Both of them are present at half effectiveness on the last health bar. It has options to heal from these status and interference conditions, usually at halfway through the health bar or on sync, and when it heals from them, it also gains resistance. Except Restrain, which acts quite differently but still prevents Acute Senses. Status setters and interference characters were the main picks for this arena. The challenge wasn't too difficult, especially since there are lots of quite accessible or powerful Ghost Sync pairs, but messing up the timing of the status and interference could be costly. Sometimes I had to abandon runs because I accidentally got an early flinch or burn. Looking at the top pair for this arena, Giovanni with Shadow Ball rocks up in style with 21 uses. Clearly a favourite for Ghost type clears, Giovanni is a free pair with some great power even off type. Celine and Anniversary Lily, both also strikers, follow closely behind at 20 uses, with 2 tech pairs in BP Erica and Alistair joining them to round out what is already a packed top 5. BP Erica provides both accurate poison and trapping, which is great to help strong DPS characters through the gate. Alistair has access to poison through Sludge Bomb and restrain through Gmax Terror and Grappling Sync on his grid, which lets him rip through both of Uxie's defenses relatively easily. I would still probably bring a reliable status user just to be sure, like Tech Arbox 100% poison chance, if I had Alistair. The highest support was BP Surge at 18 uses. Another great buffer with access to Thunderwave, BP Surge is great at helping strong electric sync pairs with Paralysis synergy, like Alessa, through some of Uxie's defenses. Venomoth was the champion Eggmon of this arena with 15 uses all confirmed tech. Venomoth, like BP Erica, provides both trapping and reliable status, having Troublemaker 1 already in its passive skills. The most used team for this arena was BP Erica, Giovanni, and Rosa, used 4 times. Rosa helps that gauge to move while filling out Giovanni's special attack buffs. BP Erica handles Uxie's defense conditions. Definitely was on the money about Anniversary Lily's dominance here. Morty with Driftblim and SSR Cynthia aren't too much further down the list, at 18 and 17 respectively. However, I was very off the money with Four Acerola. She wasn't even used in the teams I saw this Gauntlet. Restrain did play a big part here too, with Celine and Alistair as mentioned at 20 uses each. BP Erica and Tech Venomoth were definitely popular choices for their balanced status interference support, but Serena does also show up with 13 uses in this arena, so she's not slacking off either. I was definitely off the mark with my other Eggmon choices. The next most used Eggmon was Lickitung at 7 uses. I think all the flinch users were funneled into Moltres. Latias' Legendary Arena stands out as one of only 2 so far that are 3-on-3 battles. The supporting Pokemon, Flygon and Alakazam, are weak to Dragon and Dark-type attacks, respectively. Latias itself is weak to Dragon-type attacks on the first health bar, and then Fairy for the next 2 health bars. Fluid Fortification is the main defensive strategy here, with Latias decreasing the damage it takes when it has raised stats, and increasing damage received when stats are lowered. Beyond the second health bar, Latias' evasion increases when it dodges an attack, but decreases when a hit lands. There is a huge 4-way tie for first here, with Lily topping the support ranks, and Champion Iris, Master Royal, and Clement topping the tech ranks. All 4 of these trainers were used 21 times. Lily is a great Fairy-type support from the general pool, with great buffing capabilities, including accuracy to circumvent Latias' evasion. Champion Iris boasts double attack and special attack drops, and is a strong Dragon-type sync pair to hit through the initial stages. Master Royal with Dishearten 9 dropping attack and defense can really put the pressure on Latias, as other physical strikers sweep in for massive damage. Clement's kit really shines against Latias too, with a wide range of debuffs. You can drop accuracy with Mud Slap, speed through Electroweb, and even special attack through his sync grid. Since that's quite a number of characters tying for first, I'll tie off Latias' analysis with the highest striker, Eggmon, and the most common team. Getsis, was the most used striker with 16 uses. I can see where this is coming from, even though he has yet to receive the 60x boon, his spread damage along with dropping attack, special attack and speed definitely justifies his position here. Those same debuffs are all shared with the top Eggmon, Nidoqueen. with 9 uses against Latias, all of which were tech. The most common team also relied on Venom Drench, with Janine, Koga and SS Leaf used 3 times against Latias. Seems like I was on the money with Champion Iris, as she's definitely the best sync pair to counter this legendary arena. I can't believe I forgot to mention Clement in my original analysis, as he's one of my favourite sync pairs, and that triple debuffing definitely helped him secure a high spot among the Gauntlet hopefuls. On the other hand, and somewhat hilariously, the top striker in the list does not even have 6EX unlocked, though characters with spread attacks like Master Royal and Getsis, who both have a number of debuffs, were clearly in high demand. Behind Getsis, Diantha did have a strong showing with 14 uses. Janine and Tech Nidoqueen are great debuffers when the opponent is poisoned, and going through the list there's a number of characters I mentioned used with high frequency in this gauntlet. For example, both Bryson and SS Misty had 11 uses each. It appears though that techs still rule the roost here. Now we come to the overview of all of the combined information from this trio of tricky trials. Acerola reigns like her royal ancestry as the top sync pair and top tech pair for this gauntlet. She was the only character brought to every one of the 24 clears, and as mentioned in the Moltres discussion, it's very clear why. She's probably the easiest to use weather setter, and Sandstorm was the easiest to use since rock types which flourish in it already hit Moltres for massive damage. Moving down one rung to 23 uses, we find a number of support characters tied for top of their trainer class: Kiawe, Leaf, and a returning favourite, BP Morty with Mismagius. Morty again topped the support list, used 12 times against Moltres, 10 against Uxie, and once against Latias. The Flinch and Confusion were great boons against Moltres and Uxie, so it's no wonder BP Morty thrived in these arenas. Kiawe brings a very strong and diverse showing, used 5 times against Moltres, 8 against Uxie, and 10 times against Latias. Shadowbone's defense reductions and ghost typing, along with Kiawe's great team buffs, clearly gave him a niche in many team compositions. I imagine he may have slotted into a supporting role for some fire sync clears against Moltres too. Leaf was a great support for this arena, used 17 times against Moltres, 3 times against Uxie, and 3 times against Latias. The staggering chance on tackle, as well as a strong move gauge and stat boosting support, really gave Leaf a niche against Moltres. I assume the popularity of the Leaf, Brendan and Gardenia clear, plus variations, likely helped her to succeed against the dreaded Fire Chicken. While May shares this rung with the supports as the second highest tech pair, we must slide down one more step to find the highest strikers, chilling with other supports like Hilbert, Sycamore, SS Blue, and Lily. The 2 equal highest strike pairs with 22 uses each were Giovanni and Candace. All 22 of Candace's uses were against Moltres, showing that even a fire weakness won't stop her focus. The Hail Setter seems an obvious choice to bring to a weather-based arena. Giovanni already topped the Uxie list and had one more use on Latias, most likely for special defense debuffs and his strong 6EX attacking potential. For Eggmons, Blastoise was no doubt a popular choice. Helping out with water teams with a few extra rain dances, it's clear they found a niche in Moltres' arena, with all 21 uses here, all of which were tech. Venomoth is the next highest Eggmon, again an Eggmon that topped an arena, this time with 15 uses all against Uxie, again all tech. That puts Venomoth just behind Solgaleo 16 uses, again bringing that piercing damage through Sunsteel Strike. Kabutops, another weather Eggmon, next appears with 14 uses, all against Moltres and all tech. This puts it just ahead of Cobalion with 13 uses, which itself is just ahead of Lapras, the last of the 3 released weather-setting Eggmons at the time. Lapras was used 12 times, again entirely against Moltres and yet again all tech. Pikachu just squeezes into place here with 11 uses before the last 2 Eggmons I'll mention, Nidoqueen and Lickitung. Nidoqueen obviously topped Latias' list, with all 9 of its uses, which were, you guessed it, all tech, in that arena. Equally, Lickitung's 9 uses were all against Uxie, though 7 of those were tech and 2 were support. These 2 were ahead of Torchic's usage, who was used 8 times. Thankfully there were no impressive cross-arena teams, though there were a few more teams that were used more than 3 times on individual arenas. I encourage you to have a look deeper into the analysis tab of the spreadsheet listed in the description, if that's something that might interest you. Once again, there are some sync pairs that were just underutilized or flat out missing from this gauntlet. There were way too many single-use sync pairs to mention here this time, but all of that data is available in the attached spreadsheet. In terms of non-Eggmon characters that did not appear in any teams that I saw, the pairs of Lorelei, Bugsy with Beedrill, BP Karen with Umbreon, Tate, New Year Volkner, Roxy, Fall Acerola, Kahili, Jessie, and Regirock were all unused. All of the previous unused pairs, Roxy, BP Karen, and Regirock, appear here again. Fall Acerola I feel was the most surprising for me, but that and New Year Volkner's appearance, or should I say lack of appearance, may just be down to how difficult it is to get seasonal sync pairs. Kahili might see a nice bump in the next gauntlet now that she has a grid, as may Bugsy with Beedrill, but Tate and Jessie will stay languishing without grids for now. One other interesting fact is that Costume Lily, the most recent Sing pair as of the conclusion of the event, was brought twice, once to Latias and once to Moltres. How ironic that she didn't face the Ghost Week Uxie even once. Whew. Now, having looked at the past, it's time to look again to the future and the upcoming Legendary Gauntlet, featuring REGIROCK, Latias, and TORNADUS. Oh boy, I hope I get this video out in time. REGIROCK is a Grass and Steel Week Legendary Arena focused on critical hits. It is Grass Week for the first bar and Steel Week for the remaining second and third bars. When a critical hit lands, either against allies or REGIROCK, the target of the crit has their defense lowered. REGIROCK also prevents all other stat drops except for drops caused by their own moves. When REGIROCK's health drops below half and near the start of the second health bar, REGIROCK uses Iron Defense, which also sets a critical defense preventing REGIROCK from being crit. From the second bar onward, REGIROCK can cure status on sync and gains ways to lessen the effects of afflictions and interference. It can also guarantee crits, usually on its spread attack rock slide and debuff special attack during the second health bar. If that wasn't enough, for the third health bar, REGIROCK can guarantee a crit if one of your sync pairs faint. REGIROCK will likely be the most difficult of the three, and is definitely more of a marathon than any other legendary arena. Crit buffing sync pairs as well as sync pairs with vigilance will be the primary combatants for this arena. Additionally, expect defoggers like Latias and REGIROCK to help remove the crit defense that REGIROCK gains from Iron Defense. Jasmine is a key pair for this arena, as she has crit and stat debuff defenses with Clang to help sustain the team, and can heal on sync or even deal damage herself with the right grid. Strong steel pairs like Steven, Raihan and Gloria can definitely expect to see use here, supported by pairs like Hop and Costume Jasmine, or newly gridded pairs like Wickstrom, who has Vigilance already, and Thornton. Palentine's Marnie will definitely appear here for those who have her to carry through some weaker steel types more reliably. Dawn and Fall Caitlyn are two more pairs that have innate Vigilance, with Dawn even on type for the first bar. If you have her at 6EX, she can really rack up some sync buffs and damage. Powerful grass types shouldn't be neglected, and I feel like Brendan and SS Leaf especially have a good chance of showing up here. Costume Sonya in particular has Insult to Injury, which increases the power of her moves as REGIROCK's defense drops. Even though REGIROCK is very resistant to certain statuses like Sleep and Flinch that are usually used for phasing attacks, you still really want to phase Iron Defense and the guaranteed crit rock slides if possible. I think planning specific pairs for this legendary arena will be the most important out of the three. Salamence, Dragonite and Latias are another 3v3 legendary arena like Latias. Big surprise there. All three are weak to Dragon, though Latias becomes weak to Ice in the third health bar. Salamence and Dragonite use spread attacks and buff Latias, so it's important to take them out quickly. Latias is a mixed attacker and also gains Defense Crush 9 and Mind Games 9 passive skills for health bars 2 and 3, lowering your mixed defenses. That's it though. It's relatively straightforward. Cyrus is likely going to see good use here, as well as Champion Iris, SS Serena, and SS Cynthia. Yes, the one with Kuma-O, for spread dragon type attacks. Anniversary Raihan and SS Leon can bring some big Dynamax attacks, with Raihan more likely to be the Twister user we see here, as Latias is needed for defog support on REGIROCK. Lucas with Dragon Zone may be able to support some weaker pairs like Palentine's Marnie does for REGIROCK. We might also see some Getsus use here, as he has both Ice and Dragon type attacks, and Ice types with good longevity or support like Palentine's Bee could appear here too. Even consider Holiday Leon for those who have him, as Glacial Lance is also spread damage and he'll be on type for the last health bar. Since the drops are specifically defense and special defense, Stalwart and Unbending trainers will likely see use here, though Unbending pairs may be brought to REGIROCK instead. I expect the relative straightforward nature of this arena though will see it be one of the most able to leverage a random sync pairs go team out of these three. Spread damage is key and there are so many users of it, more than I can list here. Let's throw out a specific class of examples, spread damage weather teams. Bring your choice of weather setter or setters along with strikers like Cynthia, Blue and Arcanine, Costume Hilda, Ethan, SS Red, May, or Maxi, and so on. There's lots of options here to go wild with teams, for sure. You can even bring out the classic sleep chains here, as Latias does not become immune to sleep. Remember when not every Pokemon was immune to sleep? Memories. The Electric Week arena of Tornadus is all about paralysis. Tornadus can only be afflicted with paralysis and no other status condition. Additionally, while Tornadus is not paralyzed, it has access to a number of incredible defensive buffs, reducing physical and special damage taken on health bars 1 and 2 respectively, and then reducing all damage and preventing critical hits in the third bar. Tornadus has a chance to clear paralysis every time it attacks, with a greater chance on the third health bar. Tornadus starts with resistance to interference conditions like flinching and trapping, and this resistance can increase to immunity like we see in Uxie and REGIROCK. Tornadus will often use spread attacks as well, including Air Slash, Heat Wave, and Brutal Swing. With Solgaleo most likely tied up against Regirock, N Anniversary N and Anniversary Lily may see more use here, as their attacks, and in the case of N and Anniversary N, sync attacks too, ignore the passive damage reduction. N especially is on-type and the ideal sync pair for this stage. You will also see many electric-type strikers and tech pairs here, hopefully including Clement, who can really self-sustain in this fight while hindering Tornadus with stat drops. There are so many great paralysis users these days, including those with new grid support. While a full list would be quite extensive, BP Surge with Raichu, Calum, now with 6EX, Sophocles, Classic Alessa, and so on all have access to reliable paralysis. However, there are lots of unconventional paralysis users too. Consider New Year's Lance with paralyzing bounces, tossing the coin with Holiday Skylar's Tri-Attack, I don't actually recommend this, or the myriad of body slammers with hostile environment, including Eggmons like Tech Snorlax. There are other Eggmons with good chances to paralyze like Support Gengar or Tech Muck. I leave out the Dragon Breath users as they may be more likely to show up in Latios clears, but with the relative ease of Latios' Gauntlet you may need to pull them away to get every paralysis chance you can get. To really maximize the length of Tornadus clears, I think running one solid paralyzer or two less reliable paralyzers, most likely a sync pair and an Eggmon, would be the best bet. Once they're gone, and you only have yourself and maybe some flinches. It should be said that mixed attackers have a great chance in the early stages to balance between the physical and special reduction, but inevitably you find yourself fishing for paralysis one way or another. By my count, there's only 45 sync pairs that can paralyze in some way or another, and these are also with wildly varying degrees of success. For example, if you are thinking of Tech Porygon, don't. While perhaps more challenging than the last Gauntlet, Moltres, Uxie, and Latias still provided a fun and interesting trio of trials and tribulations. Okay, maybe not Moltres, but definitely the other two. I still enjoyed compiling this information, and I'm looking forward to the surprises that will bubble to the surface in the next Legendary Gauntlet. If you'd like to see more Pokemon Masters from me, why not consider popping over to my Twitch? While I don't stream Gauntlet clears too much, unless there's strong demand for it, I do stream Masters whenever there's new content, and hoo boy am I looking forward to some of this upcoming content as I'm writing this script. To be honest, I hope by the time I upload this, I'll have SS Giovanni in my possession. Please RNG, I'm begging you. Thanks again for watching, and for everyone who I pestered or chatted to about their clears. It means a lot to see so many people in the Masters community supporting this endeavour. I'd like to give a special thanks to Zinfigel for his incredible arena information videos, which really helped me make sure I was getting all the information I needed to include for Regirock and Tornadus. Thanks also to Skipping Mud for promoting the last video. It means a great deal to me, and I'm glad to be able to include your clears among many other YouTubers in the mix this time. But for now, I better get back to something other than working on this script. Probably sleep. See you next time, and as always, stay masterful. I thought Regirock was going to be okay, but I think I've psyched myself out of that mood now. How tough is that arena going to be? Help!